Knowing what you knew now, would you give up the degree? Would you take this knowledge that you have, and would you go back and find your dream man?
Yes.
You would?
Yeah. I agree. And I think the main character syndrome thing is true. And I think that it's a problem because like people like me spend my 20s, my youth, my prime trying to get that degree and become all these things that truly once you get to that point, you get to 30, you get to 35, you really start to see the value in tradition and gender roles, and that's not to say like ladies like we're not equal and da 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 and all these things and we don't need an education or anything like that, but you'd really start to see that there's a switch where it becomes such a disadvantage, and all of a sudden everyone's like, but you're a great catch, you're smart, you're this, you're that, you're everything, you're da 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 da, you'd be a good mother, you'd be good. And they
lie to you.
They're like, I want that 20-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that too, but they're like, I want that 20-year-old.
Well, these are girls that probably told this. These are women that told you this? And men too?
In general, I think in society's views, like say like, you know, I spent like, for someone like me, like I spent my 20s like trying to do these things that society kind of teaches us.
Go to school, date around, have fun.
Are valuable, exactly. Yeah. And then you get to this point and you're like, no, I should have taken my high school sweetheart more serious or been more
Let me ask you a question real quick.
You know,
Knowing what you know now, if you took that knowledge and I told you, you know what, we're going to fucking push the clock back 15 years. Knowing what you knew now, would you give up the degree? Would you take this knowledge that you have, and would you go back and find your dream man?
Yes.
You would?
Yeah.
So here's a real question. What actually matters more in dating? Success, experience, or timing? In this debate, a woman in her 30s sits across from Myron Gaines, and they break down how age, choices, and expectations shape relationships. And as the conversation starts, you can already feel it's going to be a simple agreement.
Okay. All right, and I really appreciate you being honest about that.
I'm being honest.
Because when I've asked girls this, most of the time they do say they would turn the clock back.
Hold on.
They would?
What are you going to give?
They would.
Real quick, though. Right now, right? You're single.
Yeah.
Poly by choice, right?
Yes.
Wink, wink. No, but like...
What does that mean? Cap?
Stop the cap.
I was just kidding about that part.
Watch preview.
What would you give up for a man right now? Like, let's say, for example, you're into him, he liked you as well.
For like my dream guy.
Dream guy. What would you give up?
Everything.
Your social media, your job. What would you give up for your man right now?
Well, she gave up everything. She said she would turn the clock back 15 years.
It would be like, what wouldn't I give up? And that would be a better question. What wouldn't I give up?
Instagram.
Like I'm saying, like if you lost education, a job, everything, you went back to 20 years old, fresh out of high school, etc.
If the guy was like, if I met my dream guy and he was like, but I don't want you to be a paralegal, I want you at home, I'd give it up. If he was like, I don't want you on social media, I don't value that, I'd give it up. That's real.
Yeah.
Has anyone in the past ever asked you that before to give up stuff that you didn't want to give up?
No, because I feel like, again, like we've been groomed into this society of like where I'm an independent female,
she wasn't listening, bro. She was
you know,
like,
the
whatever,
guy
nigga.
doesn't want to take that leadership role to say, I don't want I value these things and I want my woman to be this. The guy is almost, not to be like sus, but like the guys kind of take this like simp role where they're like, like we're all just stuck in a really weird place, but it's
I think people are
destroying society.
scared to be honest, and obviously that what I just said, right? A lot of women this is why a lot of women get angry and fight with me on the show, literally from what I just told you guys, right? You guys have been very calm and well receiving of it, but a lot of women get angry and they call me a misogynist, an asshole, a sexist, blah blah blah.
Because they've spent their life working towards these things.
You're right.
That's everything in their parents, their schooling, their generation, their society, social media, Instagram, everything has told them be an independent female, go to school, get a degree, get a college. That's what's going to make a man want you. And then you get there and you're like, why doesn't nobody want me? I have all these things. I'm educated. I'm smart. Why does he want a 20-year-old bimbo that has a BBL and is that?
And it's crazy.
But that's what
you
they
do
want.
all that work and you're like, okay, he's going to appear tomorrow like this.
Reals.
But he never shows up.
Yeah.
Or
because
even
now
stays.
you're in your mid-30s.
Yeah.
And you're competition. And maybe you make more money than him. Maybe you're more educated than him. You're not on the same level. And even you're kind of, there's so many times I go on dates and stuff. Yeah, he's great, but I know that we're unequally yoked.
And I think that's the difference between like,
and I'm in a lane of my own.
And that's tough because like when a girl goes on a date with a guy, right, and she's like, okay, I'm smarter than this guy, I make more money than this guy. Like you guys lose attraction. You guys are like, oh my god,
and it's crazy. That's weird to think.
Right, but like us, we're not like that. Like we can go on a date with a girl that's 19.
Yep.
She's not smart at all. She'll be like, oh well, I haven't really done much. I just live with my parents. Blah blah.
What do you have?
She's a 10.
A guy will be excited. He'll be like, okay. I can take you
Low body count.
here. Yeah.
Lots of years.
There you go. That's
Value.
how men think. Yeah.
And if I could go back and understand the value in those things, I would have dated around more. I would have not, like, I feel like girls too, like,
Did you waste your time on like one guy or
that's
something?
the thing.
That
We
was a
date
loser?
somebody and we date them for 3 years. Then we date the
Okay.
next person. And
You?
even while you're talking to somebody, as soon as we start, ladies, like, as soon as we start the single ladies, you start to talk to somebody, whatever, it's like we zone out everybody else.
Okay.
We really do.
So were some of those guys like I guess losers, and you gave them too much time?
Or maybe not
And you thought you could
losers,
fix them?
but maybe I passed on winners. So maybe they weren't
okay.
necessarily losers,
Okay.
but they weren't necessarily, I passed on soulmates, 10s, high value men, this and that, trying to, let me finish my education first before I have kids. Let me date
All
around.
right.
I don't want to marry my high school. I only dated 2 guys. All
yeah.
these things society tells you to
You
do.
got FOMO. You're missing out.
And then
Yeah.
you're 35 years old and you're like, okay, what do I have to, like you said, you might still be able to be attractive, be this, and get a good quality person, but you're going to sacrifice somewhere. They might have kids. They might not make as much money. They might,
Be ugly.
they might be 5'10".
Yeah.
No disrespect.
Yeah, under 6 foot. Yeah.
Hey, how tall are you?
5'6".
But 6 foot is like.
Yeah, bro. 6 foot, you know.
Like 6.
Oh, hold on. Question, ladies, real quick. This has been on my mind for so long.
Tell us.
How do you know when someone's 6 feet versus 5'10",
You can
5'11"?
tell. You can tell.
No. Be honest. If you're below
I don't
5'7",
tell.
5'7", how would you know he's 6 feet or not?
I'm a tall woman.
You
so
know
I
how
can
tall
tell.
you are.
How tall am I?
I can eyeball an so I'm
the
gonna
mic.
eyeball
No.
6 foot.
How tall am I?
Come on.
No. How tall am I?
Stand up, please.
Yeah, I could probably tell you how tall
I
you
can
are.
tell you how
just
tall
to
you
see.
are.
you
Just
taller
look
than
me,
good.
that's all that matters.
You're sitting down. So
How
how
tall
could I
are
know?
y'all?
If we're standing
Based on how you're reacting, I'm going to say 5'11".
Hold
Tell
on.
me.
If
Girl,
we're on
you
a date,
remember
right,
mine. Okay.
and I'm walking next to you, I guarantee you would not know how tall I am.
I would.
You would only know that I'm
Trust.
taller than you.
I know a 6 foot person when
There's
I see
no
him.
I'm a
ruler
tall
or no
woman.
measurement you can see, huh?
I'm a tall woman.
Oh, I'm sorry,
I'm like
baby, I'm sorry.
5'7", so.
If somebody's
That's what I'm
3 or 4
saying.
inches
Taller
taller,
than
that's
you,
And if I wear
you would
the
never know how
heels-
tall they really are.
I would know. I eyeball things all the time.
You telling me you don't know 3
So
inches?
if he was taller
No.
than you,
No,
but
I'm
not
telling you.
exactly 6 feet, you wouldn't go for it. So you're 5'7". You said you're 5'7".
Yeah.
If he's 5'9", you're gonna be like, oh no, he's not 6 feet.
Yeah, I would know. He's not 6 foot. Because, okay,
So
guys,
You wouldn't know.
I would know.
You know what's
you
funny?
know my ball things.
So,
No, but I know 2 inches from 6 inches.
All right, so typically what I've noticed is the closer the girl is to a 6 foot, the easier it is for her to discern if a
Yes.
guy is going to be 6 foot. So like, if
I
I've
can tell.
when girls are like 5'10", 5'11", they know right away. Yeah, this is.
but not
We eye level.
5'7", 5'6", they don't know what
With heels
what
on.
time it
5'7",
is.
you
yeah.
can know.
Bruh.
Trust.
5'7", we looking eye to eye.
Trust.
5'10",
Yes.
that's me with shoes
Thank
on.
you.
A nigga pissed off some McQueens.
Also, keep in mind,
You don't
she
know
said-
what tall
she said-
that nigga
she said
is.
her fiance is 6'4".
is over 6 foot.
So for her, that's an exception,
I
rare.
eyeball it.
But most girls, I agree with you, can't tell. But she knows because her fiance is really tall. So that's how they know. But most
I
girls
eyeball
can't
it.
tell the difference.
I'm telling you, the shorter you are, the harder it is to tell how tall somebody really is.
I would agree.
I'm 5'4".
Yeah.
Short girls can't tell.
What was I? Shit. You took me off track, man. I was going to ask something.
We're talking about her
Being old.
finding a man, feminism.
Too late.
No,
taking over.
she talked about it. Oh,
She'll make a
what I was
change.
gonna say
There you go.
for the younger girls here, what are your thoughts on this? Because some of you guys have relationships or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Like you, for example, like keep what you got. Like I mean, that's like
Absolutely.
statistically speaking, by the way, like when a girl is in a relationship with a guy that she lost virginity to, those typically tend to have the highest
Soul
marriage
ties,
rates.
yeah. Also, I feel like it has a lot to do with people see how their parents are raised or come from a background. It's like, I don't want this, I don't want that. And for women, it's scary because it's every woman, I feel like at the end of the day, it's all goes to certainty. You want to be certain that you'll have a nice life, you'll have a house to come home
But
to.
your parents aren't together.
Yeah, exactly, which is what I'm saying. For females,
That's
they
where it
want
came
to.
from for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I want to go to school. I want to make sure that I have everything together. So because my parents were together, I don't want a man or whatever the case is. But
Wait, who's on your arm?
that's my godfather.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that tattoo.
Thank you.
wondering.
I'm sorry. Yeah. No.
Okay.
Not my boyfriend. I'm not crazy. No.
Okay.
Okay.
Interest. Okay. So, anybody have any thoughts on like what she was saying? Agree, disagree? I mean, you have a little bit of experience too. Do you agree, disagree? Would you turn the clock back if you could as well, or
No.
no? Hardcore feminist. Okay, fair enough.
Oh my god.
We have some
No.
questions from the ladies, real quick. Are these from you? Or no?
Yeah, I think it is from them. Yeah. So you wouldn't turn the clock back to get another chance to find a guy. If you had if I could turn it back, you said you're 32, right?
Yeah.
We go 12 years back, right? And you're 20 years old, and you could find your dream guy. The likelihood would be higher, right? I gave your virginity back and everything. Would you go back in time?
I mean, I guess so, yeah. So correction, scratch that in terms of if I had better self-worth back then.
Like you have the knowledge that you have now. I'm Army. After this discussion, you got the knowledge. You know how to get a fucking guy now. You go on a date. You're not with this fucking main character bullshit. You're going in there. How can I add value? The guys are lined up. You can find a dream guy. Would you go back? So you would. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I think the younger ladies, man, like take this as a
lesson learned here.
Like a lesson learned. I'm not saying that these ladies are doomed. No, of course not. But
I mean,
you guys are.
I'm saying
being brutally honest, you guys, they're not doomed. But you guys are gonna have to absolutely make concessions. That's a fact. You ain't gonna get a 6'3"
They're coming with kids.
multi-millionaire.
They're coming with kids at least for me. Yeah, I'm gonna be a stepmom to somebody somewhere.
They're either gonna come with
Someday.
kids or they'll no kids, but they won't be attractive. They'll be awkward.
Or no
weird,
money, or
there
no,
you go.
you know,
Something.
not to be crass, but
You're gonna have to give something up, is what it is, right? Like women in their 30s can find a man, but this is the problem. You know, once you're in your 30s as a woman, right? You got some experience. You've dealt with men that make money. You've dealt with men that are good looking. You've dealt with men that have the Lambos. You've dealt with men that are top of the line. And it's very difficult to go backwards.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've noticed with girls. If they dated a guy that was a multimillionaire before, it is so tough to go to a guy making $100K per year. Because girls tend to be, well, I can do this. I've reached this before. Why the fuck am I settling? So women tend to look at their past relationships as like a barometer of where they can kind of go in the future. But they don't realize that as time passes, it's harder to make that back. So I think the biggest thing I tell girls in their 30s is like, just pick 2 or 3 really good traits that are non-negotiables. Like maybe he's like, if money's your biggest thing, be content with getting a guy that has money that's ugly. Be content with the fact that he might not be the best looking and he might make some money here or there, but you're just gonna have to deal with it. So,
or you'll have to. If you're not, you're gonna sacrifice something of yourself as well. That's something like how we were saying before.
Yeah.
So not only do I have to realize that I'm gonna have to accept somebody with kids or this or something like that, but I might also have to sacrifice and become a mom or become, you know, give up my career or become a stepmom.
Or be content with knowing that it's not length and girth, length or girth. You know.
That part. So, you know, you gotta. It's just sad. It's a weird place. Yeah. I don't know. Doomed is a tragic word.
No, I don't want to say. I'm not gonna say doomed. I'm gonna say doomed to find your dream man.
Though.
It's not. You're doomed to find your dream man, but you can still find a good man. And I think that's where girls like think like, oh, but he's boring.
But you gotta settle though.
Well, hey man, he's not the best looking guy, but he probably won't cheat on you.
Yeah, that's that materialist. Yeah,
no, for real. That's
like
the social
materialistic.
media.
Those are materialistic aspects.
Yeah, or he'll pay a hooker on Sundays 3 times a year.
You won't
Who
find
knows?
out, but
yeah, I mean,
or stay alone and keep searching, and next thing you know, you're like, I'm 35.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Okay, you seem pretty with a good head on your shoulders. What would you advise the young women here?
Good head.
Yeah, we got some girls here that are 18 that are like literally just beginning their lives. What advice would you give them, knowing what you know now and having this discussion?
I would say don't be so afraid to embrace. Like society has kind of, and I'm not like a super. I'm a very pro women. Get your education, get your money, take care of yourself, all of those things. But I feel like one major mistake that I made along the way was putting my value in my education, putting my value, and not to say those things are invaluable, but if I would have had the self-worth that I had now, then I didn't, you know, and I sat there and I kept thinking, but when I
look at her, tell her.
When I find a husband, when I get an education, when I lose the weight, when I when I become a lawyer, when I do all these things, I'll feel worthy. And I think if I would have had that self-worth then, I could have not been so afraid of being traditional. Like, it's almost like society has groomed us to feel like if we accept a traditional role that we have to negate our independence and we have to negate our education. And I would say my advice to you guys would be that you can have both of the things are valuable, and you don't have to put all your value and all of your time. Time is.
And you said you're from Buffalo, right?
I'm from Buffalo, New York.
Yeah. The Northeast is like literally like, dude. Then feminism and indoctrination and liberalism is huge in the Northeast. I grew up in Connecticut, so not too far from you. And you're right there on the border of Canada, which is even more woke. So yeah, I mean they push education in the Northeast crazy on everybody, you know. So.